If you're over 60, there's a real chance you're overlooking one of the biggest natural health secrets out there. An old tea, once used by our grandparents, which was considered dangerous for years, is now being rediscovered by those tired of relying on pills. And the truth is, a large part of modern medicine would rather not talk about it. This tea was forgotten, labeled as forbidden, and disappeared from the conversation. But times have changed. Quietly, many older people are bringing it back into their routine, and the results have been surprising. Most people still believe that the only solution for pain, fatigue, or bloating is to increase the dosage of medication. But there are simpler, older, and often more effective ways. One of my patients came to me after years of struggling with leg discomfort, constipation, and a constant feeling of heaviness. She didn't know what else to do. During our consultation, she mentioned something that caught my attention. She remembered a tea her grandmother used to drink when she was a child, a tea she herself had avoided for fear of it, but which was starting to pop up again in conversations with neighbors and older relatives. I asked her to bring the name next time. When she came back with sparkling eyes, she said, "It's called the leather hat." Indeed, the Bible says in Proverbs that a cheerful heart is good medicine, but it's wisdom that keeps the body healthy. When wisdom points to something the earth provides, it's wise not to ignore it. Leave a comment below with where you're watching from and say with conviction, "My health is a priority," because health isn't just the absence of pain, it's clarity, independence, and hope. And that's exactly what thousands of older people are regaining with a plant that seemed forgotten. Why was it condemned by science in the past? The reputation of this tea took a hit when reports began to surface of adverse reactions in people who overdid it. Instead of using it cautiously like our elders did, many started preparing it in excess, combining it with other diuretic teas, or even using it as a replacement for water. The result was inevitable. Blood pressure dropped, weakness set in, and soon news headlines were warning of the risks. Medicine at the time, based on limited evidence, started advising against its use. But as with many other things, the problem wasn't with the plant itself, but with how it was used. When used wisely, this plant has always been a powerful ally to reduce inflammation, relieve joint pain, and support kidney and liver health. I had a man in my office who had stopped using the tea after an old news story about its risks. He remembered his mother making the tea on cold mornings, but hadn't dared to try it again. Years later, exhausted by diuretics and painkillers, he came to me looking for more natural alternatives. When I told him that this tea might work again in his routine, he was surprised. He restarted it with careful guidance in small doses, every other day. He came back to the office reporting that the swelling in his legs had gone down, his urine was clearer, and his digestion was better. The condemnation of this tea wasn't out of malice, but from ignorance and lack of criteria. Many plants have gone through the same thing. They were misunderstood, banned for caution, and only decades later did science begin to recognize their true value. And that's exactly what's happening now. What was forgotten is being rediscovered. And when tradition meets knowledge, a healing power emerges that respects the body's natural timing. What modern science has discovered about this plant? As research advanced, the plant started to be studied more rigorously, and the results turned heads. Studies conducted by Brazilian universities showed that the plant's active ingredients have a strong anti-inflammatory effect, particularly for joints, kidneys, and the liver. Substances like flavonoids and phenolic compounds in the leaves help fight toxin buildup in the body, promoting an internal cleansing effect. What's more interesting is that this action isn't superficial. It works deeply within inflamed tissues, providing progressive and long-lasting relief. Many patients report significant reductions in muscle and joint pain, improved bowel function, and even a lighter feeling in their bodies after just a few weeks of use. It doesn't work like a quick painkiller, but as a slow, effective restorative. One 62-year-old patient came to my office with a history of constant back pain and fluid retention. He had tried physical therapy, various medications, and dietary adjustments, but nothing worked consistently. After starting the tea, with the right preparation and guidance, he reported that, in less than 20 days, He was sleeping better, urinating more frequently, and waking up with a lighter body. Science has also identified a slight antibacterial effect and liver protective properties. This means that in addition to cleansing the body, it helps the liver recover from stress caused by medications, fatty foods, or metabolic stress. For those over 60, this makes a huge difference. An inflamed liver compromises the digestive system, hinders nutrient absorption, and contributes to constant fatigue. It's no exaggeration to say that this plant has gone from being a forgotten tradition to a natural tool for those who want to restore balance to their bodies without harming their organs. When used with guidance, it doesn't just relieve symptoms, it helps rebuild what time, routine, and excess have worn down, older adults rediscovering the secret. What's most impressive isn't just what studies show, but what older adults are feeling in practice. Slowly, this plant is showing up again in conversations among neighbors, in church groups, and at family gatherings. Not as a passing trend, but as a quiet return to something that many have known works. Now it comes with backing and security. One lady I've been seeing for over a year used to complain about heaviness in her legs, slow digestion, and fatigue that wouldn't go away. She had a strong resistance to drinking teas, thinking they were a thing of the past, but after hearing another patient's story about this tea, she decided to try it. She made a light infusion 3 times a week, always in the afternoon. Less than a month later, she returned to my office saying she felt less bloated inside. Her mood had improved, her skin looked more vibrant, and her appetite even got better. This rediscovery is growing because there's a general fatigue with solutions that only cover up problems. When the body starts signaling, it doesn't want a shortcut. It wants real relief without harm. And when people realize that a simple leaf can bring such profound results, a sense of respect is born. It's no longer about fixing a symptom. It's about restoring care for one's body. What we're seeing isn't just the return of a plant, but the awakening of an entire generation choosing to take better care of their health with more independence. It's not about abandoning everything else, but about adding to it, looking at what the earth provides with more attention. Because, in the end, those who've lived longer know that the answer isn't always in something new, but often in something old that was left behind and has now returned with humility and power. Who shouldn't take this tea? Despite all its benefits, this tea isn't right for everyone. It's safe when used with common sense, but in some cases, it can become a risk, especially when combined with certain health conditions or medications. People with naturally low blood pressure should be cautious, as the tea can enhance this effect and cause dizziness or weakness. The same goes for those on diuretics or antihypertensive medications. In these situations, the combination could overload the body and destabilize its systems. It's also not recommended for people with advanced kidney failure, as stimulating an already compromised organ could do more harm than good. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should also avoid it, just as a precaution. While it's a traditional plant, there aren't enough studies to prove its safety during these delicate periods. I had a 66-year-old patient who started drinking the tea on his own, encouraged by neighbors. Within days, he noticed excessive urination and weakness. After reviewing his tests, we found he was already taking 2 medications for blood pressure and 1 for fluid retention. The tea, added to all of this, was overloading his system. We adjusted his routine, took him off the tea, and later reintroduced it in small doses. His body thanked us. This plant is powerful, but power without direction can be destructive. That's why using it wisely makes all the difference. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it can be used carelessly. It takes attention, listening, and balance. And for those with restrictions, this doesn't mean the end of the road. Nature is vast and offers equally effective alternatives with similar yet gentler properties for those who need a different kind of support. 4 natural alternatives for those who can't take the forbidden tea. Not everything that works for one person works for another. And when the body imposes limits, it's important to have the wisdom to listen. Fortunately, there are other plants with properties similar to this one, capable of helping those who can't or don't want to use it. These herbs are safe, with a long long tradition of use and easy to find. They work in a balanced way and offer real benefits to those seeking relief and vitality after 60. The first is horsetail. With a mild diuretic effect, it helps reduce bloating, stimulates the kidneys, and strengthens bones and joints. For those with fluid retention, muscle pain, or discomfort in the knees, it can be a big help. One of my longtime patients started drinking this tea 3 times a week. In less than a month, she reported lighter legs, less pain, and even improved nails and hair. The second is rosemary. Better known for its scent, it goes far beyond being a seasoning. This plant stimulates circulation, relieves headaches, and boosts mental clarity. It's ideal for those who feel constant fatigue or have trouble concentrating. One gentleman who used it daily said that over time he noticed less forgetfulness and more energy for simple tasks. The third alternative is peppermint tea. Refreshing, light, and digestive, it works directly on the stomach and intestines. It helps with gas elimination, eases cramps, and improves bowel movement. For those with bloated abdomens or suffering from constipation, just a few cups a week can make a difference. Finally, there's sage, an anti-inflammatory herb known to help with hot flashes, excessive sweating, and memory. It's especially useful for women going through menopause, but can also be used by men with mild anxiety and sleep disturbances. These 4 options don't replace the plant, but they expand the possibilities for care. Each one has its strength, its time, and its effect. The key is to know, combine, and respect. Because in the end, it's about understanding the power of nature and giving it the attention it deserves. If this content resonated with you, drop a comment below and feel free to share. Your experience might help others. Share this video with someone you love. Sometimes the care that saves starts with a simple piece of advice, and the right time to change is now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.